throw that old one away.
Thank you.
Good morning. It is Monday, June the 22nd, 2020. It's a couple of minutes after 9 o'clock. I apologize. I'm trying to get everybody situated today. We have everyone social distance and spaced apart here, but the courtroom is probably as full as I've ever seen it since this COVID pandemic. Having said that, the Kerr County Commissioners Court is now in session, and Commissioner Harris will lead us in the prayer and the pledge. Please stand.
Lord, we come to you today, and we ask that you watch over our first responders, both locally and statewide, and especially nationally. They come under severe attack each and every day. I know their families worry every time they leave the house. So Lord, watch over these fine men and women that protect us, as well as our first responders in the fire department and everywhere else. Lord, we thank you for putting us here in the hill country, somewhat shielded from a lot of the national news and what have you, and the ongoings, a lot of civil unrest. So we ask that you watch over everybody and give our leaders in Washington some insight and give President Trump the strength to continue on. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. I think it's obvious that I have my mask back on today. My wife asked me to do this. She's still convalescing. The next part of our agenda is the public input. I know someone wanted to speak. We need to get that form. On the public input, let me remind you that if what you want to speak on is on the agenda, we ask that you wait until that agenda item is called. The things that can be you can use to address the court with right now are things that are not on the agenda. We ask that you identify yourself by name and address, so we know which precinct you live in, and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. You got it? Okay. Just pass it up. Just pass it. While she's doing that, I want to remind everyone that if you want to address the court, you may call 830-792-6161, and that phone will ring right here at the bench, and we'll take your call. Okay, this is Ms. Feeney. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you may approach the podium.
Crutches.
Good morning, Your Honor. I would like to request a...
Go ahead and give us your name and address.
Oh, my name is Fer Feeney. My address is 130 Mark Drive South, Kerrville, Texas, 78028.
Okay.
I'm not sure what precinct that's in. I'm here today requesting to be on the agenda for next week regarding a ban of fishing at Flat Rock Dog Park. I would like to request that no fishing at Flat Rock Dog Park.
Okay, so you're just requesting that that topic be put on the agenda for next week?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think we can accommodate that. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Next time, just call that one in. That's a lot easier to call that one in than have to come down here. Okay, commissioner comments. Let's kind of start in reverse today. Let's go with 4.
Okay, we need some rain. A lot of fuel out there in the pastures and the fields and everywhere, and we need another shot. It looks like we got a chance this week, and keep your fingers crossed. That's about all I have right now.
Good. 3.
A couple of things. I had to miss the workshop last week, so I did have some updates as to what was said and things of that nature. But a couple of comments related to that. One, I I applaud the judge for looking at the budget and with the light of what are our required functions. I think it's good for us to understand that and look at that, but I don't always agree with that. The other side of that, and I think that so it's on the record that I like the idea of going towards ESD for the fire departments. I think that's a good direction long term, but I'm in favor of funding, and it's going to take several years to get there and some commitments. So, this year I think there's certainly a substantial amount of funding should be in the budget. My personal opinion on that, and then on the veteran services as well. It's a department that was created, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, something like that. We thought about it long and hard when we did it. We did it largely because of the feeling that we have so many veterans in the community, and also that the more funds that we can get, federal funds that those veterans are entitled to, that we can get to them, the more it will help, or it will be spent locally for the most part, and as a boost, it's like economic development almost. And I think that has worked. Certainly the veterans community thinks that. So I think that's a department that, even though it's not required, there is a reason for it. Those are two comments based on that workshop that I had missed last week.
And for those that want to comment on that, that's on the agenda at item 1.22. We'll talk about that later this morning. Okay, 2.
The alcoholic beverage sale petition drive in Precinct 2 is going well. I think we've got about 800 signatures. Don't forget, this is year 2020, we need 2020 signatures. So it's lots of activities all around Precinct 2, and hopefully we're going to get there. But that means we need a couple of hundred signatures every week between now and mid-July. I thought we could, when last time I mentioned August the 1st would be the cutoff date, it's actually July the 17th. Because the way the law is worded, the voting people, okay, they're required to have 30 days to verify the addresses or the people on the petition are valid
Right.
holders of voting rights. So even though they probably won't need it, probably do it in a couple of days, that's what the law says. So we got truncated by about 2 weeks out of the process. So that means we got to really get it. And people are doing everything in the world they can. They just have to, hopefully we'll get there. So
If I remember correctly, y'all were about at 600 and some odd.
No,
last year
800
we were
now.
at
No, last week.
Last week we were at 656 or something.
Okay.
So roughly as of yesterday, about 800. So got a long way to go.
Okay. Precinct 1.
Not a lot to report, but this last week there's something that came up with our emergency 911 system. And I just want to encourage everybody who has private property that's not county maintained. You cannot be told you have to have street signs and markers, but if you'll put one up in those troubled areas, it sure makes things easier for our emergency workers to find you. If it's a sheriff's department, if it's an ambulance, if it's a fire truck, I've been to some areas checking them out lately because there were some disputes about streets. It helps you, and it makes all of Kerr County safer. The sheriff can tell you. It makes everybody safer if it's clearly marked. And I know they have all their GPS stuff and all of that, but just like cell signals in the hill country, those can be lost, and it can be pretty confusing in the middle of the night. So if you got one of those areas you live at, you should put a sign up yourself. That's all.
Okay. Then let's go ahead and move on to the agenda. Item 1.1, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the update, facility use, and other matters related to COVID-19. Doug Thomas, our Emergency Management Coordinator.
Morning, Judge. Morning,
You got a haircut.
Yes, sir.
Look sharp.
Got my beard lowered a little bit. Feels good, too. I'm going to get right to it. This is week number 16 for our COVID situation report. And our numbers practically, for all practical purposes, nearly doubled over the last week. I
think I spoke too soon last week when I said we had been doing really well. We hadn't had any numbers, COVID positives for a week. And then on Thursday, we got slammed. So currently, we are at 46 total. I believe the number is 13 actives. One of those is in the ICU at Peterson Regional Medical Center. So one of the things that I wanted to inform the court about is testing, or I'm sorry, not testing, but the way DSHS reports their numbers is going to change significantly over the next, well, it's already changed as a matter of fact. So we're having a meeting this afternoon at 3 o'clock to discuss how we want to report our numbers so that they're more timely and a little bit more accurate than what DSHS has given us. For instance, I got a call earlier in the week for case number 22, and they said in 4 days that case is going to be, needs to be taken off the record because it will have been 2 weeks. 14 days is generally the time period for the virus. So that means for 10 days, DSHS had sat on that case and we hadn't worked the idea about it. They were unable to contact the individual, so they just never gave us the address till it was finally 10 days in. Which doesn't do me a whole lot of good and kind of gives me some concern because our first responders may have to report to that address for anything. It could have been fire, EMS, or police department, and they had no idea of knowing that that address is COVID positive or COVID alert because we are keeping those addresses in our CAD system, both at the county and the city level. And that is going to change as well with DSHS. They're no longer going to notify us of the addresses for those locations. So our first responders, first of all, need to consider every call a COVID positive case. And we're going to be trying to work out some ways where we can still get those addresses. Peterson Regional's taken some of that information down, and if they can give me those numbers and those addresses, we'll continue to put them in CAD. For first responders, it's just the notification from DSHS is going to take a little longer. They can no longer do these investigations within 24 hours like they've been wanting to. They've been getting 75 to 100 cases per day, and they just don't have the number of personnel to conduct all of those investigations. So it's running behind. We're going to go to aggregate reporting. It's a little bit different. We're going to see some numbers on the DSHS. The Region 8 report is going to change. You will see a block on there for cases that are under investigation. So they're going to add that in there. And it's going to be a little bit different for our reporting system. But I want us to be able to meet this afternoon, myself, Peterson Regional, all of our PIOs for the city and the county as well, Peterson Regional, the Kerrville Fire Department, their EMS, and we're going to work out a method for us to report our numbers that are a little bit more accurate, a little bit more timely than what DSHS has given us. So right now we stand at 46, but I can assure you we have more coming. We have so far, Peterson Regional has done 1,583 tests, Texas Military Forces 386. Our nursing home numbers have stayed the same. COVID positive is 46. Our infection rate is 0.17. I expect that number to rise. I think by the end of the day, I'm going to look at seeing probably 7 or 8 more cases.
Deb, is there any trend as to where these new cases are coming from, or is it just random in the community?
I think it's just random. I think part of it is once the state started opening up, people were starting to travel. Not only travel, I think people started meeting with their neighbors. I've seen some of these addresses that are within 2 or 3 houses of each other. And I guess they decided that it was time to go meet your neighbors, have a party, do whatever. And so there's been a lot of it passed around. A lot of it's been close contact. We've got two residents I know of that have at least 2 individuals in that residence were positive. One has 3. So I think some of the things you're starting to see around the state, I know Bayer County has gone to a mask order for restaurants, basically cooks and waiters, waitresses, wait staff, whatever. San Marcos has also done the same as far as a mask order. I don't know if that's what we want to explore at this point. I think we still need to continue to stress that folks need to wear a mask, need to wash your hands if you're sick, if you don't feel well, stay home. Use hand sanitizer if it's not available, because I can assure you at this point, I'm at the point now where it's, if you're in that age group or you have one of the underlying conditions, if you don't wear a mask, if you don't social distance, if you don't wash your hands, it's not a matter of if you're going to catch this virus, it's a matter of when you're going to catch it. And then it's going to matter on your current health is going to determine your survivability. So that's basically what I had for this morning. Other than our numbers for around the state, everything's continuing to blow up. Texas has 107,735 cases. Total deaths is 2,165. Total recovered 67,096. Total testing is 1.6 million. The surrounding counties, some of that has started to blow up on us as well. Kendall County is up to 44, Medina 75. I have Kerr County on there with 45, it's actually 46. Gillespie has gone to 18, Bandera 13, Kimball County is at 1, and Real County has finally got one case. So it's still moving west, and we're still going to see a lot of, I think we're going to see a lot more COVID-19 cases here. The DSHS Region 8 numbers active are 3929, recovered 3,718, deaths are 130, and they have 227. That's a number that I'm going to continue to put on there now because that's what they're going to be putting out. And so we have 227 cases in Region 8 that are pending. 11, I know Kerr County has 11 cases pending investigation. So,
Doug, on the question, you don't have the answer, but on the mask, looking in the courtroom, I see different types. Any mask or certain mask?
at this point, I'd say any mask. The cloth mask like he is wearing, N95s, surgical N95 like what the judge has on, surgical mask, anything as long as it fits rather snugly, and then those will be fine. But if it's if you're not wearing it properly, it's like a seatbelt. It's not going to do you any good.
So those that are, I guess, labeled dust masks are better than.
I would say it's better than nothing, but a dust mask is not going to stop the molecular size of a COVID-19 virus for a particulate mask for somebody that's working on a construction site. Any other questions?
Anything else for Doug? We appreciate your diligence. Keep up the good work.
Monday morning's a little,
Okay.
It's a little hectic. Have a good day.
Thank you. We're going to skip down to the timed item at 9:15. That's item 1.3 on your agenda. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve a resolution recognizing Bill Wood for his service on the Kerrville-Kerr County Joint Airport Board. Commissioner Moser.
Thank you, Judge. We've said many times what the airport has done in being a major asset for this entire community, probably in ways that are not quantified. There are a lot of people that come to Kerrville with expensive planes and big jets and spend a lot of money, and that's never captured in the real value of the airport. Because of what the airport board has done in the past number of years, we went from a major deficit of $400,000 a year, which the city and county had to make up, to where it's revenue neutral now. Bill Wood has been recently the president of the board. He's been on the board for a number of years, been very active and contributed in many ways. And with that, there's a resolution that I would like to propose that the county adopt, and I'll read the resolution, if I may, into the record. Recognition of William Wood's service for Kerrville-Kerr County Joint Airport Board and Kerr County. Whereas Bill Wood has served 8 years on the Kirk County Joint Airport Board as a member, and this year is the board president. He worked to develop and approve budgets whereby the revenues generated at the airport were greater than its expenses. Whereas under his leadership, the airport board, with participation of the city and the county, worked to develop a strategic plan for 2019 through 2023 for the airport. Whereas he has been an active member in the Kerrville Civil Air Patrol Squadron for 5 years. His primary role is a public information officer, and that has led to the unit being far more visible to the Hill Country. In addition to serving as a pilot and public information officer, he coordinated Civil Air Patrol flights for Tybee High School ROTC detachment. Bill continues to be very dependable, useful member of the Civil Air Patrol. Whereas he is a board, while he's on the board of the airport, he uses engineering and managerial skills to develop 2 T-hangar projects and other runway improvement with grants from TxDOT. Therefore, Kirk County Commissioners Court does hereby thank and recognize Bill Wood for his dedication, leadership, management expertise, and valuable assistance in making Kirk County Kerrville Airport one of the best general aviation airports in Texas and a valuable and important asset for Kirk County. Signed, adopted 22nd day of June 2020. So with that, I move that we adopt the resolution.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Moser, seconded by Commissioner Harris to adopt the resolution recognizing Bill Wood's service to the Kerrville Kirk County Airport Board. Any discussion? Those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0.
Thank you, Bill.
We'll get this up. Get it signed right here. Yeah. Bill, I want to say something.
Well,
Come up to the mic.
it's been a labor of love. Best board I've ever served on, and you've got a good president coming behind you. And you have a wonderful airport manager, Mary Rohr, and appreciate, actually, you know, we work for you. We work for the county and the city and all the citizens of Kerrville, and everything Tom said about the airport is absolutely true. It brings in a lot of folks. I mean, you've got ranchers that bring in all kinds of guests at night. You've got the camps. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a big jet come in and one little girl with a suitcase get off. And there's a lot of stuff happens out at that airport you wouldn't really believe. And we've had some very famous people come through here. And I think it's a credit to Kerrville. And it's been a great 8 years, and I'm sad to leave, but my time's done, and you're in good hands. So thank you for everything.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Bill, we've got Jody's going to bring the resolution back here to give to you.
Okay.
We don't have a photographer, do we? Oh, you got it? Okay. Bill, what? Is it okay, Judge, you come up here?
Sure, come on
That
up.
way we can get a good picture. Jonathan and Harley, come on. Don't you?
Stand sideways.
I'm going to shake your hand anyway. I don't get to shake many hands.
Lab sub's not watching this.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Gotcha.
Hey, one more.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, did you get them? Did you get it, Mark?
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
Let's go back up to 1.2 on the agenda. This is the one that I put on the agenda every week now. I signed the proclamation declaring a state of disaster due to public health and economic emergency back on March the 24th. We renewed it on the 30th with a provision that says it would be extended until terminated by order of the court. So this is the opportunity for it to discuss, do we still want to keep the state of disaster? And I think we do. With the way things have doubled here in the last week, I think it would be imprudent to not continue it.
Judge, I could add just a little discussion. I think you know this, but on Wednesday afternoon, I think at 3, there'll be a kind of a city, county all of the emergency management folks are having a Zoom meeting. And I think that it'd be good to give the judge who participates on that guidance as to what direction, change, if any, we should do. I really don't think there should be any change, in my opinion, but I thought that it'd be ultimately he's the one who gets to make that call. But thought I'd just put it on the table.
And to kind of inform the public, there's been a lot of discussion this past week. I think everyone's well aware of what San Antonio, Bexar County, and Austin, Travis County have done, and the meeting they had with Governor Abbott for him to explain the meaning of the order that he's entered. San Antonio and Austin issued. Well, somebody's calling. Hello? Yes, ma'am? Okay. I'll go ahead and put you on speakerphone. We're in the middle of the court session, and you just have to listen to us for a little while before we get to that item on the agenda, okay? No, go right ahead. This is TCDRS calling in for the later agenda item. But what I was explaining is the distinction that Nelson Wolf and Ron Nuremberg did in San Antonio is they put an order for businesses, not individuals, to provide masks for their employees and for the customers, and required that they wear masks while in their establishments. And that is not an individual mandate, that is a commercial business mandate on those businesses. So consequently, I've gotten a lot of calls, a lot of emails, just something for us to consider. The other thing that I've had people ask me about, which I thought was unusual, that it came up at this late date, can the county judge order social distancing? Because some people just aren't doing it. That's something for us to think about. Probably so. But those are just some of the issues. And I don't know what we're going to do on Wednesday, but I certainly welcome everybody to tune in and see what all the stakeholders have to say.
I would hope we could leave it to the individuals. I think the responsibility ought to fall on each individual. If you see like this room, for example, if you don't see enough masks and you're uncomfortable, turn around and walk away. I think that's the way it should go. And that's, one of the reasons I wanted to leave this and not cancel this item once we got started, because I didn't feel like we'd ever overreach, and in my opinion, that'd be overreaching.
And to follow up on that, if a business chooses to voluntarily require masks, that's their prerogative.
There you go.
The one thing that I've consistently told everybody through the weekend is I think that it's prudent to wear a mask in certain situations, and I think that's an individual determination, and that is strongly recommended. I've talked to the mayor several times this weekend, and that's what we're doing. We're strongly recommending that you wear a mask in appropriate situations. And the other thing that I would share with you is we had some people this past week, who refused to wear a mask when asked. We had some people who refused to quarantine when asked. Now we're starting getting into some dangerous territory when that happens. So that's just, we do that on a case-by-case basis, but be aware that as this thing blows up, it is becoming more and more emotional.
Well, it would be different, and I keep reminding people of this. This is not a death sentence. There are plenty of people walking around that have had it, didn't know it, got over it. There are people that have it now, they don't have any symptoms, so it's not automatically going to kill you. So that's where you get into real issues of telling people what they have to do when there's not maybe any consequence at all for them.
I agree. Our latest official numbers for our seasonal flu was 2018, and type A and B combined, we had over 900 cases. And I know for one, myself, I've had it before, never got tested. Just knew that's going around and
Right.
feel like heck, and you have it. And I think if the seasonal flu was monitored like this one, people would be hiding in the closets. So, it's my 2 cents.
Okay, so we're not going to take any action on the state of disaster that's already in place. Is that correct?
Correct.
I
Okay.
do have one question, though. We have, I would assume, at the sheriff's department, for example, of continuing bill for buying PPE stuff and so on. So this is going to accumulate.
Yes.
Well, and for those businesses out there that are considering putting their own voluntary mask requirement in place, I know in Austin I've seen they have no mask, no entry at the door into the business. PPE is one of the things that we can get. We can get these masks. We can help defray those costs. That's one thing that the government is reimbursing us for. So anyone that is so inclined, we encourage you to consider it because we can help you with that. So. Okay.
Individual businesses.
We give masks out to a lot of people.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Costco requires, to go into the Costco store in San Antonio, that you have a mask, so
But as a county, we can help supplement that for them?
I don't know.
Is that what you're saying?
I think we've been giving out a lot of places, haven't we, Sheriff?
On what?
Masks.
We have,
Yeah.
we've given, not businesses, we have given some to the school districts that, needed it, has through our emergency management, and we've used several thousand already.
Well, we might look into whether or not we can help these businesses if they choose to do that.
We don't have the numbers now that we could, we'd have to try and get some more, but we
Oh,
don't have.
I understand this is all ongoing, but okay, it is 9:30. Let's go to the 9:30 timed item, which is 1.8. And yes, but if you would please identify yourself again.
Yes, this is Ann McGeehan. I'm the general counsel for the Texas County and District Retirement System. And also on the phone is Roxanne Aldridge. Roxanne, do you want to introduce yourself? Yes, good morning. This is Roxanne Aldridge. I'm your Employer Services Representative with TCDRS.
Okay. I'm putting it up closer to the microphone. I've got Ann McGeehan, who is General Counsel for TCDRS, and Ms. Roxanne Aldridge. And let me call the agenda item. It's 1.8. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the 415 agreement, qualified replacement benefit arrangement for the Texas County and District Retirement System. Jennifer Dawes, our HR Director.
Good morning. Last Monday, you asked these ladies to call in and give you further clarification. So, Ann, can you provide, I think we provided you with 3 of the questions that the court had. Can you speak to those?
I don't think she could hear you.
I don't think so. You're a little
Can you hear?
soft.
I'm sorry, no, I didn't quite hear that.
We sent you 3 questions last week that
I
the
don't think
court
she can hear
had.
you.
Why don't we
Back
just
here.
reiterate the
Yeah.
question for her?
Please.
Give me a try.
The 3 questions we had from last week, can you tell us about those, Ann?
Oh, okay. I think the first question concerns the authority of the Internal Revenue Service
Correct.
and the context of the qualified excess benefit arrangement for the legal basis.
You know, excuse me, let me interrupt. This is
Sure.
Rob Kelly. Let's set the stage to the public that we're coming in on this mid-thought and from last week. Jennifer, if you could restate what the proposal before the court is so that the people know.
Okay. The 415 agreement allows the county to make up the difference when someone retires, their pension is greater than the IRS guidelines allow TCDRS to pay. So this agreement allows the county to make up that difference, and then we reduce what we pay the monthly contributions the following month by what the county has paid. So the county will not be out any additional funds.
Well, but as I understand it, we have an employee who qualifies to receive more pension than is allowed by TCDRS. Is that right?
Correct. If they retire
So,
today.
Judge, this is Roxanne. So it's not that, first of all, I'll actually run future projections of employees that might possibly be affected. And so they run this every single year. One employee down the road right now could be affected. If we run this again next year, this employee may or may not be part of the impacted group. You might have one or two more employees, or zero on an annual basis. So this is a dynamic list that's going to change every single year. And the limit is not set by TCDRS, it's set by the IRS. And it's basically, I think the email that we sent out is just at page 62 for the limit, which is the current limit for that is $230,000 for this year, set by the IRS. This limit changes every single year, but it also changes depending on age. So the younger the employee is when they retire, the much lower the limit is also going to be. So depending on the actions that this employee may or may not take, they might or may not be affected by it. So it's one of those things where one of the questions that the court has asked was what options does the county have? And the options are you do not have to sign this agreement, or if you want to set it in place for potential future employees that might be affected, you also have that option. So I just want to stress that it's not something that PCDRS puts in place. We just received it straight from the IRS.
Well, as I understand it, we have an employee who, if they retired now, TCDRS would not be able to pay them the full retirement benefit that they have earned according to the county's benefit system. Do I understand that correctly, Ms. Doss?
It's not if they retire now. It's if they retire in, I want to say, 5 years. It's when our outside actuaries ran this hypothetical scenario. So in 5 years, again, the limits could change. Also, what it's based on is the single life option, which is the highest dollar amount that someone can receive when they retire, because we don't know who their beneficiary is going to be. There's no way we're going to run it for all 7 options.
Okay, could you say that again? The single life, what is it?
It's based on the highest payout option that someone could select from at retirement.
And what are we specifically looking at here? What's the highest that this employee could receive if they retired?
So we don't know what it's going to be in 5 years, and I don't even we don't really run it as far as this is estimates for the potential employee. I can tell you at age 62, the limit right now for this year is $230,000. The limit could be higher next year, as set by the IRS.
So somebody would get a retirement of $230,000 a year, or is that just
at age 62?
At age 62.
Is that per year?
So if this
I don't
let's say
understand.
If this person were age 50, for this year, the limit is $105,000, for example. So significantly lower. So it changes based on their age at retirement.
Is the amount you're referencing, the 205 or the 230, an annual amount?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see, so there is a limit on how much a Kirk County employee can get in retirement based on the IRS. It's some complicated thing based on what they choose and what their age is that they retire and how it progresses till then, correct?
Yes.
And so this employee, according to our system, is should be able to get more than what the IRS says that they can get, correct? Okay, and if that's the case, the county can make up that difference, but at no cost to the taxpayer. That's the part I don't understand, Jennifer.
Correct.
So
Yes.
how do we get that additional funds to the retirement for that employee at no additional cost to the taxpayer?
When we send in our
So
contract,
when Jennifer sends in her payroll every single month, she'll just subtract the amount that's getting paid to the employees from payroll.
Oh,
So it's pretty simple, making it,
Okay.
pretty simple transaction.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, if it doesn't cost us anything, the taxpayers anything in the long run, then sounds like we need to.
So
do
there,
it.
there's this limit set by the IRS. The person can increase their retirement funds based on their own contribution, okay, to that fund, because you're taking it out of their salary, right? And putting it in.
Yes.
No.
No? Where's that money
I'm
come
not
from then?
understanding which.
No, I said yes, yes.
Oh,
So
okay, she
This
said
is,
yes.
they're not getting, this is, any employee works the same way, where 7% from each paycheck they receive from the county goes into their individual account. It earns in compounded interest, and then
Oh,
at retirement, it gets matched by the current match that the
Okay.
county is offering.
Gotcha.
So when you have someone who works a very long time, they start young, they put in a good amount of time, and they also get, regular nice pay increases, potentially they might hit this limit down the road.
Okay, I got that.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the 415 agreement with TC DRS.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Letts, seconded by Commissioner Moser to approve the 415 agreement with TCDRS for the additional contributions to the retirement program for this individual. Is that what it is?
It's not additional contributions. It's so that we can pay the difference after, I'm not great at explaining, I'm sorry, but after TCDRS pays what the IRS limits that they can pay, we pay the remainder, and then we reduce it, as they explained, our future payroll contributions to TCDRS by that amount that we pay that employee.
That employee's entitled to.
Correct. It's
And it's not limited to any specific employee. Is it
Right.
any employee that may come
anybody
under
that
this?
falls into this situation in the future.
To me, when I was hearing all this, it was confusing. What made the difference to me, that money is sitting there at the retirement system. It is there, it's just the retirement system cannot pay it to the employee. And so they look to us to make that payment, and so we get reimbursed because of the money is there for the employee already.
Okay, gotcha.
So that helped me understand it
Sure.
just a little bit.
And that's because there's a cap?
The IRS caps it, not us, not the retirement system,
Yeah,
it's IRS.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
very good. Very good. Got it.
Any other discussion?
And we have to have this agreement in place for that.
For us to be able to do that, correct.
And what happens if we don't?
Excuse me?
What happens if we don't have the agreement in place?
Then we don't get reimbursed. We just have to pay it out of our general fund.
Cost the taxpayers.
Right,
The county taxpayers, right.
yes. Our local.
If there's no agreement and there's a potential retiree impacted, then we'll stop paying them when they reach the limit, and they will not receive any more monthly payments until come January of the next year, when a brand new calendar year starts.
And so that, and under this example that we're talking about here, they'd max out this year at 105, $105,000 worth of retirement?
That was a projection or possibility. Not firm numbers, I don't think.
Well, I kind of feel like $105,000 is pretty good retirement.
But if they paid, but if they're owed, if we owe them
Right.
110,000, we owe them 110,000.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
Yes,
entitled
this
to
is,
it.
you're not paying them additional money. If somebody has a benefit that, for example, amounts to a total of 110,000 a year, they're going to get limited to 105,000 because of this IRS regulation. So it's not extra money. This is money that they've earned while working for the county.
Okay. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. And abstain, 4-1, 4-0,
I
4-1-0.
appreciate everybody helping to explain it. I really do.
Yeah,
Thank you.
team
Yeah,
effort.
thank you very-
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
ladies.
McGee and Ms. Aldridge.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that was 1.8. Let's go back up to 1.4. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve customer service agreement between Kerr County and UniFirst for the maintenance department. Shane Evans.
Morning, gentlemen.
Routine contract, looks like.
Sorry?
Routine contract?
Yes, sir. Just for clothing and mats for our facilities.
How does that How does this compare to previous contracts? Is the same company, same amount, basically?
Basically, I mean, I think they do reserve the right on a periodic basis, every 6 months to increase or something. Yes,
But it's basically the same type of contract with cost adjustments?
yes, sir.
Okay. Move for approval.
Second, looks good.
Motion's been made.
I want
Pardon?
to ask you a question. Has anything changed because of all this coronavirus
As far-
in the contract, in the cost?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, the motion's been made by Commissioner Moser, seconded by Commissioner Harris to approve the county's contract with UniFirst. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. 5-0 unanimous. Item 1.5, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding trash cans at Brinks Crossing. Commissioner Moser.
Thanks, Judge. There has, several of the residents in the area of Brinks Crossing at the Guadalupe River has indicated that there's a lot of trash. People are using our trash barrels effectively, but the trash barrels are not of sufficient volume to hold the trash, so they're sitting it beside the cans. So and even though there's a joint project between UGRA and the county to empty the trash cans, I think UGRA empties them on Saturday and Sunday on the weekends, and Shane and his crew empty them another time during the week. Is that correct, Shane?
Mondays and Fridays.
Mondays and Fridays. So the recommendation there is to add additional trash barrels there so that the trash is not sitting beside them and getting into the river, which is against that. So I would make a motion that, and I don't even know if a motion is necessary, but to have Shane look at what would be required to add a couple of additional trash cans there in Brinks Crossing so that we can contain the trash. People appear to be very responsible in picking up their trash. They just don't have a place to put it.
These are 55-gallon cans?
Yes, right.
We're looking at maybe as a minimum of one more trash can per side, maybe two. Now, like Commissioner Moser has stated, they are bringing the trash to the trash can, and my guys have stated, even though they've done that, I think we have coons or possums getting into it, scattering it out, so they're spending more time
Sure.
picking up the loose garbage also to get everything cleaned up.
So
So we need a minimum of one per side, because there's trash cans on both sides of Brinks Crossing.
I don't know if that takes a motion or if it's in your budget to do something like that. If you want to look at it and
It won't be that much. I've already started looking into the 55-gallon barrels we're probably $30 each. The lids are going to be the good durable lids for that. It's going to cost more than the 55-gallon drum.
Sure.
right.
I don't know that this requires a motion. In my mind, this is just an expansion
I
of
think so.
the plan of
Yeah.
our parks to pick up trash.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a park, but we treat it as.
So this is in response to that. So if you can do that, if it doesn't fit the budget, then
So we receive that as information.
yes.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Shane.
You can withdraw your motion, Commissioner?
I didn't make a motion. I just, okay.
I did have a motion.
Pardon?
Talking about UniFirst.
Yeah, I
had a motion by
second, you had a
Commissioner-
motion, I second.
So
On
you
the
need-
trash can?
You want to
Okay.
withdraw your motion?
Yeah, I'll withdraw the motion. No motion is needed.
Good.
Okay?
Okay.
No action is needed.
1.6, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the county treasurer's office Pitney Bowes postage machine lease renewal. And have the county judge sign the same.
I reviewed it.
That's routine.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Lett, seconded by Commissioner Harris to approve the renewal of the lease. Any discussion? Those
I've
in
got
fa-
one question.
Here's
This
Tracy.
This is
Oh, there she is.
Pitney Bowes, I mean, do we have that for multiple departments around the courthouse? And is there any benefit of consolidating those?
We've talked about this before, but each department head has the final say of what they do and who they contract with. We talked about trying to
Okay.
do it,
All right,
and get them
I
all
didn't
on the
remember
same
that
page.
discussion. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I've got my question answered.
Okay.
But there's several departments, you know, a lot of those.
Right, okay.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor to approve the renewal of the Pitney Bowes lease for the treasurer's office. Any further discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. 1.7, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve holiday and payroll schedule for fiscal year 2020 to 2021. Ms. Goss.
Good morning. I've shared these dates with you in your packet, and the holiday schedule is identical to last year, same number of holidays, and the payroll schedule just coincides with the holiday dates.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion's been made by Commissioner Moser, seconded by Commissioner Harris to approve the holiday schedule as proposed. Any further discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, skip down to 1.9. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the memorandum of understanding concerning communication and coordination between Centerpoint Independent School District Police Department and the Kerr County Sheriff's Office, and allow County Judge to sign the same.
We've already had one of these in existence, but they changed their police chiefs for the school district, and so we're just renewing it. It just gives them access for law enforcement purposes to our radio system and our dispatch, since they don't have but a 1 or 2 man department down there.
Should this be renewed annually?
I don't think we've had to renew it annually, as long as we've got it in
We actually
existence.
have the new officer's name in it.
Yeah, and it is. He signed off on this one. The judge has the original, and I just asked that he be able to sign it.
I move for approval.
A nitpick. The resolution is a memorandum of understanding, but it talks about interlocal agreement.
The county attorneys looked at it. It is kind of one in both. It's an agreement that he, at times, say there's something that goes on right out in front on China Street.
Right.
Okay, that school is on both sides of the road. So sometimes he will also be able to assist us. That's a memorandum of understanding. And then an interlocal agreement. He can help us. He's still a peace officer for the state. And then as far as using our radio system, that's more of just the memorandum of understanding part on helping that. But I don't have a problem with it either way.
It's okay? All right, good enough. Thank you.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second pending. Any further discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Next item on the agenda is 1.10, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the construction contract change order number 3 for CEDAP, CEDAP, Colonia Economically Distressed Area Program, grant number 7217045. Mr. Letts.
This on the agenda, Charlie here. It's a change order to, basically it's modifying some lengths of sewer lines, asphalt repairs. It's not increasing the budget, it's moving some funds from line item to line item within our contract. And make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Letts, seconded by Commissioner Moser to approve the CEDAP construction contract change order number 3. Any other discussion?
I was making note that the total amount of the change order is $8,570.30.
Okay.
But it doesn't change the budget.
No.
No.
No other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0.
Did you want to take a break?
We're going to take a break. I'm trying to race up here to get to our council so we can take a break and move on.
Okay.
1.11, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the committee's recommended modifications to the Kerr County longevity policy. The committee met as a moving committee. We never all met together, but communicate with everybody. And the general discussion, or basic discussion, was that until the salary survey is done, there's a recommendation not to make any major changes to the longevity policy. There is one slight recommendation that may or may not help, but in my mind it would. It should make things a little bit easier, and that is to anyone whose anniversary date, which is when you get your longevity increase currently, if it's in the first quarter of the year, it would be effective the first pay period in April. If it's in the second quarter of the year, it's effective this first pay period in July, and so forth. It makes it so that they're all done at one time. It's a little bit easier from a record-keeping standpoint. We have had issues of missing some of these in the past, so I think it helps there. And it also does have the benefit of a slight budget impact improvement for this year. Don't know exactly how much, but it would be a positive to our, it's not going to really impact the employees that much, but it will help the county, and the reason for that is the third quarter payment this year would be rolled into the following budget year for the first time. So I will make a motion that we make a slight modification to our longevity policy, that the payments of individuals in the first quarter get paid the first pay period in the second quarter, and those in the second quarter, first pay period in the third quarter, on through the year.
So do we take any action?
Yeah, I think it does, it's changing, right now we're paying them, the longevity is on anniversary dates.
Correct. We talked about that happening starting in the next fiscal year, and I don't know.
Yeah, it would take place in the next budget year, I'm sorry.
Part of the budget.
Yeah.
What does that do for those two pay periods? I want to ask the county auditor, I'm sorry. What does that do to those two pay periods in terms of cash flow? And
well, it's all paid.
Have you looked at that all?
I have not looked at it. Theoretically, what you're doing is where you normally would pay longevity, like starting October the 15th, say. You're not going to make that payment now, start that raise is what it ends up being until January, the first full pay period in January. So it's going to defer what you're, for 3 months, almost the amount that you're paying out.
So it's half the county on one, half the county employees on one, half the other half on the other.
I'm not sure I understand that. 'Cause
Well, if everybody's date gets changed, that would cover everybody in two.
No, it's not two, this is every, longevity right now is done on your
On
employment.
the anniversary when you.
And this changes it to the quarter after your anniversary date, so everyone gets it at the same time. So the impact would be, you would assume, it's gonna, some people are gonna be delayed a day.
Well, let's
Really
say
not
that 3/4 of the county falls under one of those.
I don't understand that. Everyone will fall under everyone. I mean, it'll affect every employee. That's getting
I know
one
that.
day.
Those 2 days, it's not split 50-50. I'm trying to figure out in my mind how many employees you're talking about on each one. We don't really know, do we?
No.
There's some that would start, say, January 1, or some that
You
would
wanna
start
move
March
113
31. So
down
some
after-
people would wait, one pay
That's okay.
period, others would wait 3 months on a pay period.
Right.
It just depends on.
But all of them are gonna get paid on a certain day, a certain pay period. That's what I'm asking
It will
about.
add to their pay period from then and through the rest of the year. So it will still continue to be an addition to salary. It's just we're deferring when we'll start paying that.
Right, I get that. I'm just curious how many we have in those two different dates.
When you
No.
say 2 different dates, I'm confused. So what does that mean?
You said April 15th.
But it's April, it's, the first quarter goes in the first pay period of the second quarter. Second quarter, first pay period of the third.
Right.
Third, first period
It's
of the
gonna
fourth.
affect different numbers of employees.
But we assume that we have 300 employees, that we have, a quarter of 300 every pay period, every quarter. I mean, I don't know if that's exactly.
But the only ones that will be affected this year with the longevity pay are the ones that have been employed 1 year, 4 years.
Right.
So it's only a certain percentage because
That's
it's
what I'm
every
trying to find out.
3 years.
Yeah,
So
what-
it's not 100% of the employees will be affected this year. It will only those that reach those time limits this year.
That's what I was asking, but do you have any idea what percentage that is?
Of the number of employees or the amount paid?
It'll be affected in the first, if this is adopted, the first pay period after
I can get back with you on that because I do not know off the top of my head. I've seen the schedule that was based on the old way, but I did not count the number of employees.
that. Okay.
This is
I'd be
for-
curious to see where they're gonna fall because you have a big, $1 million paycheck or something, pay period. You don't wanna have something like that,
Well, it's gonna lessen our payroll for next budget year, not increase. It's gonna be
They're not
less, whatever it
dealing-
was, it's gonna be less. It
They're not dealing with it week to week.
has to be. We're not changing longevity policy. Those that were gonna get longevity next year are gonna get longevity next year.
I get that, I understand.
And
But
it's-
you're gonna, whatever percentage of them that is
Right.
gonna start on a certain day.
But they're gonna get it a little bit later than they normally would have.
Right.
It's gonna be,
But still, they're still gonna get it. It's
Right.
all
Yes.
gonna be on the same day.
right.
That's what I'm talking about. So it's gonna be cumulative and all of a sudden the floodgates open. I'm just curious about that.
No.
Because instead of like, if you were gonna receive, let's say, you normally were paid $1,000 and now you're gonna get $1,010, just throw it out there. That $10, instead of taking effect on the 15th of October, the $10 will not be effective until January. So whatever, and yes, you may have 10 employees that may get that $10 more, but overall, you're gonna get less for the entire year.
Okay, so really, we're cutting it in half. Instead of everybody starting in October 1, you're staggering it. Is that the idea? Was that the point?
It's
I'm trying to figure out the
quarters.
point, Cole.
The point is to have it, because we've had a number of employees that we've missed their anniversary date, and this makes it consistent. We're doing it 4 times a year now. Longevity increases are not done every day that someone, like right now, if you started the 1st of January, well, maybe that's probably not good then, because you start 1st of January. Kelly started January 15th. Well, her pay right now gets adjusted on the 15th.
Right.
And that might be in the middle of a pay period. So you got to go in and work it. This is making it so everyone in that first quarter, you're getting it the first pay period
Now
after
that
that
makes
quarter.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the
It
purpose
really
of it.
coordinates everything.
Yeah. The added benefit is it will save us a little bit of money, but to me, the reason for it is much more this
Accounts.
simplicity in accounting.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry I didn't explain it so well.
Well, as it is, with 300 employees, you could have, and Jennifer would know this, you could have an anniversary date on 300 days a year.
Right.
So, yeah.
Don't have
This'll
to
make
deal
it
with it
easier
every
for you.
day.
I just didn't want us to have 2 pay periods where we go bang, that slams the county. So that's what I was hearing when the first
Okay.
go. Now I get it.
Sheriff. My only concern is I don't see it being fair to every employee. Say you've got an employee that starts 2 days after the beginning of that first quarter. Okay? His longevity increase will not go into effect until the second quarter. Right? So no matter what, he loses those months that he worked. Okay? Now you got an employee that starts 2 days before the end of that first quarter. His longevity goes in effect 2 days later.
That's luck of the draw, I think.
Well,
Somebody's
it
gotta
may
be
be
the
luck
last
of
one
the
in the
draw,
gate.
but
That's-
we have a form that says it should, I didn't know, and Jennifer can correct me if I'm wrong. I thought right now they're going into effect at the next pay period. It's not on the day of the, it's actually begins, like the next pay period. So you're not having to figure it for a 10-day period. You're figuring it at the next pay period is when it should be taking effect. And every department head has a form that we already fill out and send to HR with the effective date and whether it's longevity, whether it's educational, whether it's promotion, whether it's whatever, that changes that. And I just, at one time we did them in the past. I think it was yearly, or we did them, and it really ended up not being fair to all employees. And I think if you're going to do it, you need to make it fair to all employees. And the only way I think you can to come close is at the beginning of the next pay period and use the forms that we've been doing and show when it is. Unless it's just over saving money.
I don't
Well,
think
that's
it's
always
just
a
saving
concern.
money, it's saving in accounting and figuring and everything else.
Or another train of thought is, we wait till the salary study's done, and there will be changes at that point. So we'll just lump all the changes together instead of changing now and then changing later. That was another.
Yeah, that's the other thing we talked about, not do anything right now, and just do it all at salary study, where the committee's pretty unanimous, there will be changes to longevity policy recommended.
Yeah, because then you're talking maybe a stipend and wait until then and see what the whole salary study does. Because it's twice.
That's fine too. This is just one that helps budget-wise and helps simplicity-wise in my mind. But
So do we
it's up to the
need
court.
to take action or not?
Well, I think,
Just wait.
Did I make a motion?
I think you did, and I think
we have a
that's,
motion?
motion from Commissioner Weiser.
Yeah.
I don't
And
have a
that's-
second.
I seconded it, I thought.
Harris has a second, okay.
Any other discussion about this? Those in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed, raise your hand. Those abstain, raise your hands.
I don't get it.
Bizarre. Well, just putting it off.
Yeah.
Doing it all at one time. But it passes 2-0. It's time to take a break. Of course, it's going to be in recess for 5 minutes, and when we come back, we're going to start back on agenda item number 1.14 and do the 10 o'clock timed items. Court is in recess. Okay, the court's going to be back in session. The next item on the agenda is timed at 10 o'clock. That's item 1.14. It is a public hearing regarding the proposed Kerr County Economic Development Program, including guidelines and criteria for tax abatement program. We have Mr. Chuck Kimbrough here, our counsel from Austin. I convene this public meeting. Is anybody here that would like to address the court regarding our tax abatement guidelines and economic development policy? Well, there being no one, then I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting, and we'll move on to item 1.15. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the approval of the proposed Kerr County, Texas Economic Development Program, including guidelines and criteria for tax abatement and all related matters. We have a provision here to be able to go into executive session if needed, but I suspect we can probably get all this done in open meeting. Mr. Kimbrough.
Thank you. May it please the court. The public hearing is concluded?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're on the action item.
Right.
The requirements of the law indicate that you need a written vote order, and I've provided the court with such an order with the proposed economic development program document attached as Exhibit 1. And then attached to the program order, of course, is the application form, whereby a developer would, if it's approved, file, like the guidelines say, fill out an application form and provide all the documentation. The proposed application form is attached to the program instrument. And so I sent the staff and the county judge's office a collated document that has the order first and the program instrument behind it with a big black number on the right bottom side of each page. You know, 1 is the first page, and all the way to the end is page 43.
And this is the same order that we worked with, that we approved, that we worked from last time?
Yes, sir. With the with the changes that we made for the public hearing draft that was ready for discussion on the previous agenda item.
Just for the sake of the Commissioner's Court, maybe you should recount the problems we had getting our notice out for the public meeting.
Okay, I will, sir. I will, sir.
Because we covered our bases 4 ways from Sunday on this one.
We did.
That's a great way to describe it. The law oftentimes dictates what type of public notice predicate must occur to let you do something in court, and tax abatement criteria guidelines in 312 of the tax code has those rules. The legislature, with a statute 412.002 sub paragraph C-1, added in September of last year, added a requirement that before you enact guidelines and criteria for tax abatement, change them, modify them, amend them, extend them, you must hold a public hearing. And I gave the county judge's office and the county attorney a big stack of stuff about what we did, and this is what happened. The current statute just says hold a public hearing. Now, there's another statute later on in the development process regarding tax abatement law. When you create a tax abatement reinvestment zone, if you do so after a developer files an application that says, yeah, I want to create a zone and I want a tax abatement too, to create the zone, there are special public hearing predicate requirements. You have to hold a public hearing before the zone is created. You have to publish notice in a newspaper at least 7 days before the hearing. You have to give direct letter notice to each taxing entity that has land inside the proposed zone. Okay? But that's down the road. That's not on establishing guidelines. That's the public hearing required before you create a reinvestment zone. So you heard me on at least 2 occasions formally say, I don't know of any rule that says you have to do that extra notice to predicate your public hearing for guidelines. Well, on the 8th of June, I learned that the Texas Comptroller's Office had a difference of opinion. 8th June was after I'd been here on May the 26th. So on 9 June, when I got back to the office from West Texas, where I learned about the guidance document at the Comptroller's website, I took a look. And lo and behold, the Comptroller had a guidance document that says, hey, there's a new statute for guideline criteria public hearing. You got to do that extra notice too, newspaper notice, and give the taxing entities written letter notice at least 7 days ahead of time. So I called up Mr. Frank Alvarez at the Comptroller's office. He runs the tax abatement side of their work. And I visited with him and I showed him the statute and I said, it doesn't say that. And we've been telling clients all over Texas since the new statute went into effect, it's just a public hearing requirement, not that extra stuff that you use for zones. All you have to do to predicate hearing on the guidelines is Open Meeting Act notice, 72 hours ahead of time on your agenda.
And his response was,
oh, okay. I doubt I'm the only lawyer that called it to their attention, but so
Chuck calls me and he says, we got to do all these additional notices.
And Ms. Stebbins.
And Ms. Stebbins.
So the 3 of us, go ahead, Judge.
Well, they called and said, we got to do all this extra stuff.
Maybe.
But he says, I think they're wrong. But it's on the website, so do you take the chance that they're wrong? So we did every single notice that they wanted us to do.
Yes,
So
sir.
make it clear, what was on the website? The proposed
Notice
policy?
requirement. In order to have the public meeting we just had, we had to have all of these notices.
Okay.
Chuck told us we just had to have set it for a public notice for a hearing.
For Open Meeting Act.
Open Meeting Act.
Way to do it, yeah.
And so the comptroller came up with, God, it was
Yeah, so I got that.
A list
So,
of
but what
stuff
was-
that we had to
What
do.
was on the website?
I gave
all the list of stuff at these different places.
Okay.
Which we did.
I prepared all the stack of papers that we did, plus your internal notice documents
Okay.
on, you know, and
Okay.
there's an explanation on page 1.
That's
part
this
1.
right here.
I gave you a notebook. And the comptroller, June 9 guidance document, the incorrect one's on there. So we put it in the newspaper, gave the notice. I made telephone calls, I did emails. We got it whipped by last Monday. We got it.
And the reason was, if I remember right, Chuck,
Yeah.
if we ever got challenged about the notice for our public meeting somewhere down the road, 10, 15, 20 years, they could come in and challenge it and set aside all the tax abatement and economic development that we've been doing for decades. So I told Chuck, let's be on the safe side, let's do it all. And we did that. And then what was it, 2 days later?
All right, so Monday the 15th was 7 days before today, and that was when I was calling each entity and giving them an extra email too. The letters were sent out Federal Express, and they all hit correctly, but I did the email because emails to each of them because I was, you know, you worry about Federal Express these days with everything that's going on. So, last Thursday, what was that? Whatever last Thursday's date was, I decided I might just look on the comptroller's website to see what's going on. They corrected it. Thursday on the 17th, they corrected it. So I called Mr. Alvarez again. I said, hey, I noticed you corrected it. He said, yes, sir, thank you. So I didn't tell him what county I was working for, but I think
But Kirk County is responsible for
you
getting
had
the comptroller's website straightened out.
But I want to caution you about something. Now, the law says when you establish guidelines and criteria for tax abatement, again, it's the statute that's been out there forever. It's 412, chapter 412 of the tax code is the tax abatement procedural part of our law. 412.002, 312.002 is the guidelines and criteria statute. That's where it says you have to hold a public hearing if you're going to change your guidelines or revise them or extend them. And your guidelines last for 2 years. So like we talked about before, if you do this today with a recorded public vote to approve the economic development program, which includes guidelines and criteria for tax abatement, you have to put it on your tickler, or the staff, the county attorney and I will be thinking about it for sure. Just think about that when spring ends and when the summer comes around, your guidelines need to be reviewed. And when that happens, if the law stays the same, you'll have to have another public hearing. And when you do that, you can give extra notice if you want to. To put it in the newspaper and to give emails or direct letters to the taxing entity, it's just fine. You don't have to do it, but it sure is a good thing to think about doing, in my judgment. And I told Mr. Alvarez that when we began to discuss the incorrect guidance document that the comptroller had up on June 9. I said, we're going to do what you say because it's good public policy, it's transparency. But technically, that statute does not require it at this point. Questions about notice? Any questions about the program itself?
Was the policy that you modified based on our last public hearing?
Yes, sir.
That was posted on the county website?
It was, and
Okay.
I gave you a copy of the notice and the documented.
Okay. So that was posted on the public website. Because people have called me and asked about it, and I said it's on the county website. It's there based on the recommended changes that we made at the last public hearing. Okay, so that's been there for
soon after,
several weeks.
It would probably be around the
Okay,
end of
so
the month.
that is, if people want to see that, we just had a public hearing, so no one was here at the public hearing to make any comments on that policy, draft policy, pre-approved policy, which was on the website. Okay, just want to make that clear. Okay, good.
I want to make sure you're aware of a sort of a nuance that we sort of brushed over the last time I was here. Fees. Remember that this document on y'all's instructions was to be a comprehensive, full-blown document that's forward-thinking, that combines guidelines and criteria policy, which is required before you can do tax abatement under 312 of the tax code, plus just straight economic development agreements that do not involve a tax abatement under Chapter 381 of the Local Government Code. Our law is, in my opinion, that you cannot charge an application fee unless there is a statute that says you can do so. The nuance between Chapter 381 economic development agreements, Chapter 312 tax abatement agreements is this. Chapter 312 says you can charge an application fee to cover your internal review procedures, internal costs of review, up to $1,000. This document says for tax abatement agreements, there's a $1,000 application fee. Okay? But for straight 381 agreements, Chapter 381 agreements, economic development agreements under Chapter 381 that do not involve the tax abatement. There is no statute, to my knowledge, which lets you charge a fee for that. So how do you recover your internal review cost, and a lot of times out-of-pocket costs, like attorney's fees and maybe consultants, maybe surveyors, whatever they are, on a 381 agreement? You negotiate that with the developer.
Yeah.
Questions about fees? That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I will go ahead and make the motion that we approve the order as presented by Mr. Kimbrough to approve the proposed Kerr County, Texas Economic Development Program, including guidelines and criteria for tax abatement and all related matters.
Second.
I made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Letts, to approve the motion as presented. Is there any further discussion? Okay, those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. This is one that we all have to sign. I've already signed it, and we'll pass it on and circulate it. Thank you, Mr. Kimbrough.
Thank you, Court.
I'm glad we finally got this done, even though we did take the long way home.
The cautious one.
The cautious
There you
long
go.
way home.
Prudent.
Now we can tackle subdivision.
Okay, let's go back to item, we got all these 10 o'clock items. Let me do them. Next one is 1.16. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to set a public hearing regarding no parking signs installed. Is it Homelius Road, East Bridge, Precinct 3. Ms. Hofer.
Morning. On May 17th, 2020, Chris Summers made a request to Marshall Heap at the TxDOT office regarding trespassing issues property owners were having along the Guadalupe River near Homelius Road East Bridge. Mr. Heap then, once he realized that it was out of their jurisdiction, forwarded it to Charlie Hastings, the Kerr County engineer. We had spoke with Commissioner Letts on this. Charlie and I had gone out and looked at it. Charlie has put a map in there for some no parking signs on the bridge. And so at this time, I asked the Commissioners Court to set a public hearing regarding the installation of no parking signs at the Homelius Road East Bridge for Monday, July 27th, 2020 at 10 a.m., and that's in Precinct 3.
I move to set the public hearing.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Letts, seconded by Commissioner Harris to set the public hearing for July 12th. Was that what it was?
27.
27. Any further discussion?
I was making a comment. This is it's a very small, it's a county bridge, county maintained bridge, but it's a very small road. It probably went under the public's radar for years and years. But they could even get there, but evidently people have found out and they are causing damage to people's property. So I told them that I thought they should probably put up some boulders along the edge of their property if they could to keep people out. But it's something that you can do. We've done in other areas to try to limit people abusing the right of way.
Okay, so this is just a motion to set the public hearing.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. 1.17, public hearing to discontinue maintenance of portions of Riverview Road and Roland Lane in Precinct 4. This is a public meeting that now comes to order. Is there anybody who would like to address the court with regard to discontinuing the maintenance for portions of Riverview Road and Roland Lane? There being none, then I will go ahead and adjourn the public meeting, and we will go on to 1.18, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to discontinue maintenance of portions of Riverview Road and Roland Lane. Mr. Hastings.
Thank you, Judge. The City of Ingram has recently annexed portions of Riverview Road and Roland Lane, which are now their ownership and maintenance responsibilities, in order to allow for the City of Ingram to fully serve their recently annexed citizens, especially with centralized sanitary sewer service. It is both necessary and prudent that maintenance of all of the said roads become their responsibility. The legal descriptions of both Riverview Road and Roland Lane are attached in your packet. According to Texas statutes, the court may order public roads laid out, discontinued, closed, abandoned, vacated, or altered. The statute defines the relevant term for discontinue, it would be to discontinue the maintenance of the road. The county engineer recommends that the court discontinue maintenance of the portions of Riverview Road and Roland Lane that have not been annexed by the city of Ingram as of this date, allowing Ingram to have full control of all portions of both roads. This is in precinct 4, and we're asking you to discontinue the maintenance so that they can have control of the entire sections of both of those roads.
I move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Harris, seconded by Commissioner Moser, to approve the discontinuation of maintenance of Riverview Road and Roland Lane, Precinct 4. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Item 1.19, public hearing for a revision of plat for Tierra Vista, lots 33, 34, 35R in the recreation area. Charlie Hastings. Oh, it's public hearing, okay. I call the meeting to order. Is anybody here that would like to address the court with regard to this matter? There being none, then the public meeting is adjourned. We move on to 1.20, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the court to approve a revision of plat for Tierra Vista, lots 33, 34, 35R in the recreation area. Charlie Hastings.
This proposal combines lots 33, 34, and a portion of a recreation area into lot 33R. It also combines lot 35R with a portion of a recreation area into lot 35R1. Access to the lots will be from Tierra Vista. You have the plat in front of you. It's been signed by everybody that needs to sign it. The county engineer requests the court approve a revision of plat for Tierra Vista, lots 33, 34, 35R, and the recreation area. Plat file number 16-01809 and volume 4, page 94. This is in precinct 1. We just held a public hearing and nobody spoke.
I move for approval.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Ballou, seconded by Commissioner Letts to approve the revision plat as presented. Any further discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Our last timed item at 10 o'clock is 1.21. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the court to set a public hearing for 10 a.m. on July 27, 2020 for a revision of plat for Spicer Ranch lots 25 and 31. Charlie Hastings.
Thank you. This proposal revises lot 31, which is 12.087 acres, and lot 25, 3.056 acres, into lot 31R, 13.939 acres, and lot 25R, 1.189 acres, with a portion of a recreation area. Lot 31R has a private water well, and lot 25R will connect to a public water system. Access to the lots will be from Spicer Loop and Trent Road. The county engineer requests the court set a public hearing for 10 a.m. on July 27, 2020 for a revision of plat for Spicer Ranch, lots 25 and 31, volume 3, page 56, precinct 1. And I apologize, I said something about a portion of recreation area that was not part of this plat. Confusing that with the last one.
I have a question for you, Charlie. We've talked to the folks at 911 about the street names here.
Yes, sir.
And is that going to change? Is Tad or Trent, one of those going to change now?
Neither one of them changes. The way that they've got this plat is correct.
Will this have to be changed before it's in the permit for records? Depending on what they do at 911.
I don't understand.
Well, if they rename one of those roads.
They're not going to rename it. I think we had a meeting the other day, and they've already contacted the property owners and let them know what the names of those roads actually are based on a court order that the court went through years ago. Okay. 2001, I believe.
I'll move for approval.
Is set a public hearing?
It's a public hearing. Set a public hearing.
To set the public hearing.
So, Commissioner Harris, you're going to second that?
Yes.
Okay. Motion's been made by Commissioner Ballou, seconded by Commissioner Harris to set a public meeting for 10 a.m. on July the 27th, 2020 for a revision of plat for Spicer Ranch, lots 25 and 31. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. 5-0 unanimous. Okay, let's go back and pick up item 1.12 on the agenda. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the projected reduction in revenue for fiscal year 2020-2021 and options that could be taken to accommodate any reductions. Commissioner Moser.
Judge, several court sessions ago, I asked the auditor, based on concerns that people had in the community about reduced revenue because of COVID-19 things, and if in fact we did have a reduction in revenue, what would our course of action be to make a mid-course correction for the remainder of this year? Good news is we're right on our plan as far as revenue and expenditures, and there's no action needed. This is just for information, but I don't know if the county auditor wants to expand on that, but I met with she and James Robles this past week, and that is really good news for Kerr County. Okay, even though there's been a lot of curtailment in sales in different places, it hadn't affected I thought it would affect our tax, our revenue from sales tax. It has not. So
We took that temporary dip, and that's about it.
yep. So
Been a pleasant surprise.
it's a very good surprise. Somebody made the suggestion, and it may be true, that maybe more people stayed in Kerrville.
You sound
okay,
on the spot.
as opposed to going to other places, Fredericksburg and San Antonio, okay, to out to dinner and so forth. So anyway, that's all good news. I just wanted to say close out on that discussion we had several weeks ago.
Very good. Then let's go to item 1.13, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding nominations for the Guadalupe Basin Flood Planning Group. Commissioner Moser.
Yes, thank you, Judge. It was brought to my attention by UGRA and some of the former members, Mike Allen in particular, former board member of UGRA, about a Texas Water Development Board is initiating the activity for a state flood planning activity. And this is be the first time that there's been such a statewide plan developed. It's supposed to be developed by January of 2023. The reason I bring it here today is for information, okay? And there's two things that come out of this. Number one, there will be a planning group which is established for 15 regions in the state where flooding is a potential. We are in region 12, which is a very narrow region which begins in Kerr County and goes all the way down to the coast, following the Guadalupe River. The Texas Water Development Board has asked for nominations for members of this planning group, of which there will be 12 members. The nominations have to be submitted by July the 2nd. So
Of this year?
of this year, right. So I'm gonna come back to that in a second with a recommendation, but in that it will be made up and this group will develop the plan, okay? And it's to be made up of people nominated for the group and representing counties, cities, small businesses, environmental people, 12 different specific groups that'll be in the planning group. They will be approved by the Water Development Board who these members will be based on the nominations. There's another group that's called a support group, a sponsor group, okay? That has to be a public entity, like a county or a city or an approved district like, or area like UGRA. And that nomination has to be in by July 2nd too. I've had some dialogue with Ray Buck at UGA on this. Haven't had any discussions with the city. So what I propose is I will, myself and whoever on the court wants to, close the loop with UGRA and come back to the court next Monday, okay, with recommendations on members for the planning group and also for who the sponsor should be. I'll also forward the link to Water Development Board, which delineates this activity and what the objective is. So that's basically what it is. It's, sorry for the short notice, but I heard about this just this past week. So it looks like it's very important. It's the first time the state will have a statewide flood plan, okay, for 15 different regions in the state. So I think it's an important function. The thing that the sponsoring entity will be, they will interact with Water Development Board for applications or grant applications for funds, and they will also provide meeting places for the planning group. The sponsoring organization will not have any say in the actual planning group activities themselves. So,
Let me a little bit.
Yeah.
These are being modeled exactly after the regional water planning groups that
Yeah,
I'm
right.
chair of, and the planning, the sponsor is actually will be termed the political subdivision, which UGRA is for Region J, the Plateau Water Planning Group. That entity handles all the money and all of the public, or a lot of it. You know, we're a little bit unique. Jody then there's an administrative person, which is not necessarily that entity, which Jody serves for Region J, because I'm the chair, and this works out pretty easily that way. But so the format's going to be very similar to the regional. Well, it's going to be exactly like the regional water planning groups. It is very important. I've been in communication with Commissioner Durden in Kendall County, trying to figure out what names should be recommended for what slots, so that there's, as much as possible, everyone's in agreement. And the more entities that support the same slate of candidates, the more important it is, or the better likelihood to have people on that. So I think it's a good, and it would be my recommendation to submit all 12 members on a slate that we recommend.
Do they need to represent different entities?
They represent different interest groups.
interest groups,
Okay.
right.
So you could have, as an example,
So it'd be ag, business, is that what you're talking about?
And I'm not sure of all the ones for this, but there's a public one. Don Durden recommended that he was interested in being the public representative. There will be a county representative.
Agriculture, small business,
Agriculture, small business. Like on
environmentalists.
Region J, I'm actually the small business representative. I'm not a county representative. The county representative is held by Rialto County. So,
Would the camps fall under businesses, or if we had a camp representative, would that fall under business?
they could be small businesses, they could be tourism.
Okay.
They'd probably be better under tourism actually than small business. So, there's a number of interests, but I think it's, I'll work with Commissioner Mosier and Ray Buck, and also with Kendall County, to try to come up with a whole group.
We got to come back with something next
with a whole
Monday to do it.
recommended slate. And
And how many counties are affected?
this region is
Region
probably about
12 is probably
15 ballpark.
That's
don't
less
think
than
they
that.
have many
I think it's only about
counties. I don't
6 or
think.
7 in this.
All the way to the coast?
Yeah, but it's just right along the river.
It's very, very narrow.
Yeah.
I've already sent, I think,
Yeah.
the website. You can go and you can look at the map and everything else. So it's got a short fuse on it. So I don't know why we didn't, we missed something or
Yeah.
something. I didn't know about it, and then
Well,
fortunately
how is-
UGRA brought it to our attention.
Yeah, how do these things get established? How is it that we don't get
Legislature.
any kind of?
We did get- we had
So if the
no-
legislature did this,
It was established in the last
Yeah, there's been a lot of
legislative
notice. It's just that
I didn't see
there was a whole public meeting at UGRA about this in
Yeah.
April, or maybe it was before all this started. It must have been in December. Period. And that, I guess
Anyway,
it's been percolating through. It's just that it hasn't, until they decided when the nominations are due, it probably didn't rise to the top.
now something's happening.
Now something's happening.
so this is for information. We'll be back next Monday
Okay.
with recommendations.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, let's go to item 1.22. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the workshops held on June 17 for the volunteer fire departments and the Veteran Services Office, and future recommendations. I put this on the agenda so that we don't drop the ball. I know 4 of us were there. We sorry you missed it, Commissioner Letts. It was a robust discussion, both workshops, very long day. We have a lot of interested participants. It was very well attended. And what a couple of the takeaways that I got that I wanted to share, because we're coming up on our first budget workshop on Wednesday and going into budget season. When I first prepared my proposed budget, I distinguished between what were necessary services that the county needed to provide, that were required to, were mandated by law to do, and what is not mandated. And at the beginning of this meeting, Commissioner Letts made the comment about these are important things. And for those of you that have not watched the YouTube of those workshops, I apologize for the acoustics, because it's pretty bad acoustics, but it's very informative. And with both of these groups, the volunteer fire departments and the veterans, it was acknowledged that what the services that they provide, although not mandated, something that we absolutely have to provide as a county, are very worthwhile services. And so we're trying to come up with ways to be able to interface with them and help promote them providing their services, and how we're going to be able to fund it at the county level. And let me just take the volunteer fire departments first. I thought Commissioner Ballou did an excellent job in walking through a number of the fire departments of where they are economically right now with regard to their resources, and how much money do they have to run their operations. And I was surprised, and pleasantly surprised, that most of them have enough money to run their operations for at least another 2 years, maybe 3, without us funding anything, which gives me a sigh of relief that we're not throwing anybody in the grease here, okay? But at the same time, some are in very significant need short term. And so one of the things that I heard, and sometimes you think you hear something and you kind of misunderhear, but I think what I heard is that most of the fire departments have planned these contributions to be in their budget. But even if we did not make those contributions, what I'm hearing is they can still keep the doors open. But there's a need out there. And one of the things that I mentioned as a possible solution is, rather than coming up with cookie cutter payments to the volunteer fire departments, that we come up with a fund, like a contingency fund for volunteer fire departments, and do it and award those funds out through the year on the basis of need. And there seemed to be, I think, pretty much universal consensus that they would be very receptive to doing something like that. And in order to do that, what I foresee, it's almost like grant applications. They have a need, they file an application with us, and then we get a chance to review the need and see what we can come up with to try to support them. And so for the budget, as we start these other workshops, my thought would be to see if we can find an amount of money that we can put in there as a contingency, and then let the various volunteer fire departments who need the money come to us and apply for it. It was interesting that a number of the fire departments are financially self-supporting, which is good to know. But if we're going to try to change how we interface with them, it seems like to me a good basis would be to do it on some sort of needs test. That's on the volunteer fire departments, and I open the discussion up on that, and I'm going to talk about the volunteers, the veteran services here in just a second.
I guess my question on that, or concern, would be is that you're essentially rewarding those that aren't doing as good a job. I mean, if Hunt or take Divide, very well run, very well funded volunteer department, they don't need the money, and say Centerpoint, another well-run fire department, but say they need the money. I mean, that they haven't been a successful fundraising. So just because, it's kind of like you're giving the money to those that haven't been as successful at the fundraising, and maybe it's because of their demographics, and maybe it's because they don't try as hard. I mean, I don't know the reason, but you're rewarding those because Centerpoint, I'm just picking that out as a name, they need it, but they need it because they haven't been a successful fundraising. And who knows the reason for that?
They're all one of the things that we talked about is that Centerpoint's already looking into forming an ESD, which, would be a while before they'd ever see any money from that. But Divide as the example you used, wouldn't do any good doing an ESD. So their needs are different, but they have a great fundraiser on the other hand, a very successful fundraiser. Centerpoint has one that's probably not as big a deal, so.
I think what we need to look at is the near future and then down the road. Some of them looking at ESDs for down the road. That's
Yeah.
not gonna help them with a lick this next year.
We shouldn't change anything online, I
Right.
think, this year.
I can tell you another one that's well run, Mountain Home, and they have an ESD. Well, they bought a $500,000 truck last year, or they approved it through their ESD, and basically all their ESD money goes towards that truck for the next 10 years. And so, and now they're not having a fundraiser because of COVID. You know, most of them aren't having these good fundraisers and stuff because economic times. They don't want to ask their neighbors and stuff to donate in these down times and what have you. So, and then so you take away that $40,000 fundraiser for some of them bring in, and then you take away $25,000 from us. They're sunk, some of them, even though they're well run. You know, this is a tough time this next year, so we're going to have to do something, and whether it's on a contingency deal or whatever, we are going to have to do something.
But there is some truth to what Commissioner Letts is saying.
Sure.
But in a time of scarcity like we are right now, we want to make sure that these volunteer fire departments stay open, that they keep providing the services. What they do is so important to this county. But at the same time, if we keep handing the money out the way we're doing it right now, people that don't need
Right.
it. And so we're in the position of having to cut other services and cut other budgets, possibly raise taxes to give people money that don't need it. And there's something that kind of is inconsistent about doing that.
Well, I think it's a good, good plan to not do cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, make sure we support the volunteer fire departments as needed, the word need, and therefore they should come to the court and show what their need is, and us to have some fund that we think is appropriate to have set aside for that. So I think it was a good long discussion at that whole thing. So and there's lots of variables. So I think need based is the way to go.
And I'd ask most of them to do that, send in what they need,
Well, they
and
gotta do that.
sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah.
When
I haven't
they
got
need-
anything yet, emails or anything.
Well,
When they
and
need the
let's
money,
talk-
that'll come forward.
Yeah.
I know, but here's what I would like to see, and it's a little bit like grant applications, which we've all become familiar with the process. I would like to see maybe the last year or two of their financial statements, the compilations that they do. I'd like to see at least year-to-date income statement to see the money's in and money's out, to see what they are. And I would like to see some sort of application that explains, we need new tires for our fire truck, or we need this, or we need that. Just like we do with Road and Bridge. You come to us and tell us what you need, and we give it to you when we can, and hopefully you understand when we can't. But so that we have a little bit more formalized process and get to know what actually goes on in these VFDs.
Well, if it's going to run the way we're talking about, this proposal, I would think, need to be a cap on the amount of money kept in that line item.
I understand.
And a cap that goes to each fire department. I mean, and I think that we have erred on one size fits all too much. I mean, some of them cover huge geographic areas, some have very small, and
some have a wealthy donor base,
right.
and some do not.
That's right.
But the other thing that no one has talked about, that I've heard, is the 800-pound gorilla, which is the city of Kerbal across the street. We pay them $1 million a year for fire and EMS. 1.2 million for fire and EMS.
It's almost 1.3.
About to be more, and that contract's coming up too.
Right.
And to me, it's a little bit. I have a hard time continuing that, which I don't see, and we have no alternative for the next 2 years, I believe.
Right.
2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
We have
we
an
got
agreement for 2 more years.
But that.
But what a great time to be looking for grant money from the federal government to do our own EMS. I know it's expensive, but
I'm not saying it's expensive. It's a matter of doing it. We've looked at. I've looked at that twice, and
Right.
it's not a good picture.
It's not. Right.
I'm glad to look at it again, but it's just, I just think that you can't just carve out the volunteer fire departments and figure out how to redo that unless you bring the city of Kerrville into it, because it's under the same budget.
Because there are regions that the city provides fire services which are not provided primarily by volunteer fire departments which are outside the city. That's in our agreement with the city.
But they have a primary, there are certain areas that are
I
not
said
covered by
prime.
voluntary.
Yeah,
They're primary in certain areas.
Yeah, their city is primary in certain areas.
Well,
Like
we have
what-
mutual aid agreements.
Huh?
So we have mutual aid agreements.
No, forget that. I'll be very specific. Where I live is not in the city, but our primary fire protection, firefighting is from the city of Kerrville, not from Center Point. Center Point is secondary. So there's a region all the way around the city that the city, in our agreement with them, is the primary firefighting service for the county.
Well, is that something we can review?
Well,
In
it comes up in 2 years.
We have a 10-year
It's a
agreement.
10-year
So
agreement.
you're talking about the
I think it's
the area
2024.
covered.
Okay.
Thought we looked at that.
No, I mean, that could be
3
adjusted, I would think.
Well, it can be changed. Yeah, it can. It's going to be up in 2 years. But it
Three-
also
two-
includes firefighting and EMS. So it's complicated.
Precinct 1 probably has the most people covered by the city of any of the
I would
precincts.
think so.
So, I'm happy to have everybody covered the way they are right now, and I'm happy to. Now, some of the odd things that we found out in these meetings are that, for example, if there's a fire out by Garvin's store, that we have City of Kerrville, if they're involved in it at all, they have to get in touch with the people in Comfort,
Right.
so that they have a department that's completely covered by the certifications they need to have a contract with, so they go way the heck out there, rather than calling Mountain Home to buy and so on. There's odd things in these agreements that probably should be reviewed and corrected, because that doesn't make any sense to anybody. I don't think. And Chief Danny even admitted he don't know
There's
where
no
the
place
heck
for
Garvin's
this.
store
Right.
is.
Well, and I asked him
He
about
said that in the
Criders.
meeting.
You know, when I mentioned, what if I have a heart attack at Criders? Where's Criders? You know?
Oh, that was it. It was Criders.
Yeah, you know, they're
You
going
didn't
to
know
call.
where Criders is. Well, if you don't know where
Kerrville,
Criders is,
if I
you
call
sure don't know where
911.
Garvin's store is.
Yeah,
Guaranteed. Anyway.
yeah, you're right.
But, I mean, he's doing a great job for the city. And I'm all for all the firefighters in all those places. So.
Now, let me address the Veterans Services for a minute. That was a very informative workshop, and very well presented and researched by various individual and veteran groups. One of the upshots of all that is just the sheer economic impact of the veterans community. We have about 5,000 veterans, they said, in the county, which account for, well, listen to this number, folks, $100 million cash influx into this county. That's a huge amount of money. Yes, they're not a mandated service that we provide, but they are our veterans, and the counties are picking up trying to take care of the veterans because they're not being taken care of at other levels. But that's a tremendous contribution that they make. I did ask very pointed questions of several of them about, if we don't have the money to fund it this year, where do we get the money? And I was given basically 3 responses, and those of you that were there will remember these responses. One was a discussion about raising taxes, and they would be amenable to raising taxes. Well, you should have seen the horror on our faces when they suggested raising taxes, because that's not the way we want to do this. But it is an option. Another option that they gave us was grants, and kind of like we do with our crime victim services, we've been running that on grants. That's where that money comes from to provide that service, and that service, by the way, is mandated. It is required. But the trouble with the grants is you've got a delay. We won't be able to get any grants for this coming fiscal year, so you would have to put it off a while to be able to do that. And while that's a great suggestion, it doesn't answer the immediate need. And we talked about the economies of scale, and that if we close it down this year and try to start it up again next year, we're not going to have, it's going to cost us a whole lot more to shut it down and start it back up. And then the final, I thought probably the most insightful recommendation I had for how to fund it this year came from Paul Zolan, who was the guy sitting on the front row. And he got up and said, if we have rainy day funds, is this a year where we could actually use rainy day funds to keep this department open in order to give them time to be able to get in the grant cycle? Which I thought was spot on. I think that's probably where we're looking at with the veteran services, is to be able to draw down on our fund reserve to fund them for the year, to give them time to get in and start making their grant applications and get in that grant cycle just like crime victims. But those were my takeaways on the veterans.
And the grants they're applying for is the Texas Veterans Commission. Is that where we would go?
I believe that's the name
I
of
think
it.
that's what they were talking about.
think so.
Yeah.
And Mike Cagle has dealt with them a lot.
Yes.
He said that they're very amenable to helping, and there's a lot of money in that.
That's
So
right.
that was very encouraging.
So this would be a stopgap.
Well, you know, we have a lot of good programs in Kirk County, and many of them are represented right here in this room right now, department heads and what have you. But this, our VSO is quickly becoming one of our flagship programs, recognized in the community. And I'm not pouring any more money into it, but we got to keep them going. Those girls have done an outstanding
Well,
job.
I think we're saying we need to look at the total picture for the budget, rather than say we're not putting more money in it. You may decide you want to put more money in that.
Additional.
As opposed to putting it someplace else. We haven't looked at the other departments yet.
I agree.
So therefore,
Right.
yeah, I think it was a good discussion. It was a non-decision thing, but it was understanding the value, the needs, and that's what the workshop was about. And I thought it was a really, really good workshop. Both of them were good workshops.
Educational.
Right.
Well, I'm 100% for keeping them, but I don't want us to mix apples and oranges in something that we're not required by law to have.
Oh, no, no.
Versus something that we
Well,
are,
that-
so.
I
wanna
think
make
you
sure
start
everybody
with,
gets that.
start with what's mandatory,
Yes.
okay?
Okay.
And then you go from there.
I think what's required becomes very gray. There's a black part, there's a white part, and then there's a huge gray area. Animal control comes into the gray, library comes into the gray,
Youth Event Center comes into the gray.
youth event centers in the
Right.
gray.
Yeah.
Paved roads in Ivory County roads in the gray. I mean, there's a lot of things that we have to do. Fire EMS is in that gray area. I mean, we're responsible for public
Right.
safety, but you know, how far are we going? You know, so there's a big part of our budget's in the gray. We have to fund all these offices, but do we have to fund them at the level we fund them?
Correct,
Well, how do you put roads and bridges in that category?
because you don't have to.
You don't
Paved-
have to
paved
paved roads.
You don't
Yeah.
have to have-
We're the one of the only
You're talking
counties in the
about
state.
paving.
Versus
Yeah.
gravel.
Not maintaining.
Yeah,
No.
but you know, but we're one of the only. I mean, our roads are. I would put our roads up to any county in the state.
Sure.
And we have funded that department that way. So, you know, I think you have to be very careful of what's required because it's. I think we need to be diligent with tax dollars. If there's a way to fund something like veteran services through grants, I'm 100% for that. But you can't just look at, well, it's not required. There's a lot of things that we do that
Well,
are
the
required.
stuff that is required has to come first, is my point.
Right. But,
Right.
but I'm just saying that's a gray area as to what has to come first. It's not quite as,
Well, I think
Cut
it
and
can
dry.
be black and white. Some things are mandated, like the judge
Right.
says, period. They're clear. Other things are not mandated, but they're good to do.
Right.
Yeah,
You got to do what's right.
correct.
But the whole purpose of what I proposed initially was to initiate and begin this discussion and this debate publicly with the taxpayers and with all the county departments. Because these are discussions that we have to have.
and that's good.
The way that it really turns out is that having a VSO is an investment, because, here's an example. There was one veteran that was getting $1,500 a month for, whether it was, I don't remember what it was for, disability, whatever. And the office across the hall was able to find out that he was actually due $3,800 a month.
Right.
That money goes into our county. So it really is an investment and the judge started off talking about this, that it's an investment in the county if we keep that office, because that money keeps coming here. One guy got back paid $60 grand. That money goes into the bank here, it buys him a new truck, whatever, so.
Well, I
he,
said
she,
it,
whoever.
I said it at the workshop, and I'll say it again. When we set it up, the VSO was based on, it appeared to be that if we created that VSO, that the revenue, additional revenues based on benefits that came into the county, would be offset the expenses of the VSO. So, and the judge mentioned $100 million, yes, 5,000 people, if they had $20,000 a year, that's $100 million comes in. We're trying to be more specific, okay, on specifically what their function has been and how much real money came in because of their activities. Some of them they get, if VSO didn't get, some of that money would still come in, but there's been an increase because of it. So trying to quantify that.
That's true. And the purpose of putting it on the agenda today is for us not to drop the ball, have the workshops and not do anything about it, but to keep the dialogue going and keep it at the forefront of our minds as we begin the next round of workshops this Wednesday.
And that'll be a lot of gray areas. We'll have a lot of discussion. Right.
Okay, that was just for information purposes. Let's move on to the approval agenda. 2.1, pay the bills.
Good morning. Invoices for today, Kerr County, $226,385.49. The airport, $857.57. Adult probation, $458.40. Juvenile probation, $29,036.14. The 216th DA forfeiture, $266.98. And the 198th DA forfeiture, $245.87.
Who would pay the bills as presented by the auditor?
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Moser, seconded by Commissioner Harris to pay the bills as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Budget amendments.
Just one today. We're transferring from non-departmental to IT for COVID-related grant funding, purchase of laptops.
I move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Harris, seconded by Commissioner Moser to approve the budget amendments as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. It's 4-0. Commissioner Letts temporarily stepped out of the room. Let's go to 2.3, late bills.
There are not any.
2.4, auditor reports.
You'll see the graphs in front of you, the color-coded sheet. Where we're tracking as of May 31st, we've collected 86% of our revenues. A big part of that one that's been kind of questionable here lately has been sales taxes. If you'll look on the next graph down, we received $383,000 in the month of May. And the one that we were concerned about was June's, because the sales taxes, they're 2 months behind, so this represents April sales. And you'll see we collected $388,709. So it was kind of shocking, but it is good. And so based on that, for the rest of the year, if we collect, I think it was $318,000 each month, we will make our budget. So that's where we're at, those revenues. As far as we also looked at the fees of office, and again, we kind of peeked into the future. As of May, we needed about $205,000 to make that budget. But as of June, we had collected another, I think it was around $50,000 on that. So again, the revenues are all moving up. We're collecting them. On the out-of-county prisoners, there was questions about that. As of June, we had collected about $144,000, but as of May, but as of June, that number has gone up to we collected $700,000, and our budget is $800,000. We did discuss it with Sylvia Foraker, who is the jail administrator, and that's about $20,000 a month for the rest of this month, which we would still have, I want to say around 18 out-of-county prisoners right now. For our expenditures, again, we're lower than budget there. We should be about 66%. If everyone was spending money, at a constant rate of even amount each month, we're at 57% has been expended in the general fund. And so that should be about 67% at this time. Any questions?
Better than expected.
Yes.
Good news.
Good for Kerr County.
Yes,
Yes.
very much.
Fantastic. Good report.
Thank you. Monthly reports.
Yes, for May 2020, fines, judgments, and jury fees collected for JP2 J.R. Hone, JP4 Bill Ragsdale, Environmental Health OSSF Department Director Ashley Batters, and County Treasurer Monthly Report Tracy Solon. I move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Harris, seconded by Commissioner Letts to approve the monthly reports as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Court orders.
We have the court orders from our June 15th meeting, 38127 through 38135. And I make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Letts, seconded by Commissioner Harris to approve the court orders as presented. Is there any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Information agenda, 3.1, status reports from department heads. There being none, let's go to 3.2, status reports from elected officials. There being none, let's go to 3.3, status reports from liaison commissioners.
Executive session.
Okay. Then that concludes the open meeting part of this. We're going to go into executive session. It is 11:18. And we're going into executive session. Appropriate action regarding personnel matter. And 4.3A, information regarding airport economic development. And that is all pursuant to Texas Government Code. So we will be in recess for 5 minutes and come back into session in executive. Okay, it is 11:45 and we're coming out of executive session. And I don't believe we have any action to take. So with that, Commissioners Court will be adjourned.